Hi, my name is Lena, welcome to my channel, and this is my Friday reads. So I have finally finished Thebes, the Forgotten City of Ancient Greece by Paul Cartledge, and I did not like the book. I'll try to explain why. As you know, I am not a native speaker. This book was extremely difficult for me because Paul Cartledge didn't do any footnotes. He just crammed all the additional information inside the main sentence. And I'm pretty sure it's difficult even to a native speaker to understand. After some time, I had a strategy. I would go for the additional information first. I would read the middle of the sentence first. And sometimes it was 2 or 3 phrases. Then I would read the start of the sentence, and then I would read the finish of the sentence, just to get the point he was making, just to understand his main thought. So I would prefer this book to have footnotes at the end of the page, you know. Sorry. Then I did not understand the structure of the book. By the title, you probably see that it's kind of sort of a biography of an ancient city. So the topic is not very well defined, and Paul Cartledge could, write about whatever he wanted to write about. He started by saying that all the historical information comes from the works of ancient historians, like Herodotus and his histories, and Thucydides and his work on Peloponnesian War, and Xenophon and his Hellenika. I read Xenophon and Hellenika, and I have thought lots of good things about Herodotus and his histories, and I did not finish Thucydides because my reading muscles are not strong enough yet. I plan to return to it after I read Herodotus and his histories. So my reading muscles are not strong enough yet, and this book was extremely difficult and annoying to me. I hoped that Paul Cartledge would be talking about these histories, these ancient histories, about books. But he decided against it, and he was talking about the history of the city Thebes and about the famous prominent Thebans. And it was very interesting and it was very difficult because he was mainly talking about battles. And there is one chapter in this book that I had to reread 3 times because it's a big chapter and I couldn't read it from start to finish. And sometimes I would make a break for more than 24 hours and then I couldn't get my bearing. I would have to go back some pages and then some more pages, and then I would find myself at the start of the chapter and I would start it over again. And the reason why I had to go back because I couldn't remember the main thought about the chapter. I couldn't remember this main point, something that would unite the whole information. I could not remember that. And when I finished this chapter, I understood that there was no such common thought. It was just, a big historical info dump. So it was difficult, but it was interesting. The reason why I didn't like this book partly is my fault. Why I didn't like this book. Because I wasn't listening to the author, to whatever the author wanted to tell me. I had an agenda. I wanted to know what happened between the Spartans and the Thebans. Because they had been allies for a very, very long time. But eventually, Thebes played a huge part in the downfall of Sparta. And I wanted to know what happened. Why they had fallen out, Of course, Paul Cartledge couldn't tell me exact reason, but he made suggestions which were very interesting, I think. First of all, he said that not all Thebans were pro-Spartan. As you know, at that time there was kind of two kinds of government, oligarchy, Sparta and Thebes, and democracy, Athens. So he said that probably some part of the population of Thebes were like democracy more. And with time, this balance had probably changed, and Thebes became more pro-Athens. That was one of the reasons. Another was the way these alliances with Sparta worked. It was pretty much Sparta says all her allies obeys. And at first, Thebes were very important, so Sparta gave them what they wanted whenever they asked. So it was kind of more balanced, this relationship, this alliance were kind of more balanced at the start. But then it changed and it became pretty much Sparta says, Thebes obeys. That probably was the reason of the falling out. And another reason, the third reason, I'm sorry, was kind of personal. His Xenophon told the story of Spartan king Agesilaus going with a military campaign to Asia Minor, to Persia, and he wanted to do the sacrifice in the same place that Agamemnon supposedly sacrificed his daughter before going to Troy. And Thebans prevented him from doing that. They forbid him doing that. And mortally offended him. So he was outraged, he was offended. They pretty much diminished his honors, and he remembered that, and he became an enemy of Thebes. And I guess he used every possible way, every possible opportunity to repay them, to avenge himself on the city. It's very interesting, but I think I need some more information on the topic. And I cannot understand this king. Why would he want to be associated with Agamemnon? Of course, I'm seeing it all from my point of view. Of course, Agamemnon won. He destroyed Troy, but it took him 10 years to do that. He sacrificed his own daughter. He was killed at the end, for sacrificing his own daughter by his wife and her lover. He was not a likable character. All he's famous for is first angering an old priest, and through this old priest causing anger of Apollo and some sort of pandemic that affected his people, his army. And then he angered Achilles and lost lots of soldiers because Achilles wouldn't fight for him. So, and if it wasn't, enough, coming back from Troy, of course, most of his army gets caught in a storm and drowns. Of course, they were not technically his people, but you know, he's pretty unlikable and unlucky character. I have no idea why a king going on a military campaign would want some of this bad luck. I have no idea. Anyway, so he wanted to sacrifice, and the Thebans did not allow him. Another thing, in this book, at the end, there is entire chapter when Paul Cartledge suddenly started talking about Sigmund Freud and theater and opera and ballet. And because I'm subscribed to Steve Donoghue and I watched all of his Western canon videos, and I would love there to be a second season. So because of all that, I understood that he was talking about mythos, about this Theban mythos or Theban cycle that influenced theater and psychoanalysis and ballet and sorry, I'm lost. So this cycle influenced theater and ballet and opera, and the way we see both the way we process both our worldview, our culture. That was very interesting, but I think it was kind of irrelevant to the history of the city, and I would love it to be a separate essay in the same book. Anyway, I did not like the book. I found it frustrating and annoying at times. And now I'm hesitant to read other works by Paul Cartledge that I have. I have one in hard copy, Alexander the Great, and I kind of read a lot about him when I was a teenager, and I don't know. I'd love to read some more, I think, and I have the Spartans, but I'm not sure that I will enjoy these books. And that's why, because I wanted to enjoy the book I was reading, I started this one, The Nature of Alexander by Marie Renault. And I read only the first chapter and I am enjoying it so far. Of course, it's not that historical. It's not a history yet. Marie Renault, she wrote fiction, historical fiction, and pretty good historical fiction. I haven't read all of her works. I have read only one about Alexander the Great, Fire from Heaven, and I really liked it. And right now I am enjoying this book, The Nature of Alexander. Well, I think it's about all. Thank you for watching. Goodbye and happy reading.